live from the new sports betting capital of the world.
You might be from Texas, but I'm from New Jersey.
Benny Ricciardi is here to break down the day's betting board for you.
Let's go, Jerry. Go!
Taking a first look at the day's bets, it's time for the FTN Betting Show.
Welcome to the FTN Betscast for Tuesday, August 23rd here at FTN Bets, sponsored by our good friends over at Sleeper. Sleeper is the fastest growing fantasy platform today with millions of players, and now you can win on Sleeper by playing in their new over-under game as well. It's super easy to play. So first, in any sport, you're going to choose two or more players that you like, and you're going to pick whether they're going to go over or under their listed total. So for example, it could be the number of points in tonight it would be something like the number of hits in baseball, maybe the number of runs scored. Could be something like the number of strikeouts that a pitcher has as well. Then you're going to choose an amount of money you want to enter into the contest. And if you pick correctly, you can win anywhere from 2 times your money all the way up to 20 times your money if you go 5 out of 5 and get them all correct. But the main reason why I'm excited about this over-under game on Sleeper, it's the only app where I can join with my buddies contest and play together. It has a built-in group chat where I can see what you're playing, you can see what I'm playing, and we could all see what the guy who's won a couple days in a row is playing. And it's insanely fun when everybody is riding it out together. So stop what you're doing now, download the Sleeper app, play in their new over-under game, have some fun with your friends, and make a little bit of money in the process. On your mobile phone, I need you to go to sleeper.com/FTNbets, and Sleeper will automatically match that first deposit you make up to $100. So again, go to the description in this podcast, sleeper.com/FTNbets, sleeper.com/FTNbets, and you'll get a $100 match on your first deposit. There are terms and conditions that apply, so see Sleeper's terms of use for those details. Today, we roll on with our sports betting previews, the team-by-team sports betting previews that we've been doing here on FTN Bets. We are in the AFC West, and today is Los Angeles Chargers Day. Chargers finished 9-8 on the year last year. Many say that was a disappointment. A lot of people expected the Chargers to win double-digit games, make the playoffs, make a little run in the playoffs as well. And none of that happened as they just missed by, I think it was half a win that they missed by getting in there. The Pittsburgh Steelers finished 9-7-1. Chargers were one of those teams at 9-8 that was on the outside looking in. So let's see, what numbers do we have for the Chargers this year? 10.2 is the number that Jeff Ratcliffe has them projected win total for them. So a little bit above 10 here, but a little bit below what the market has. The market consensus number is 10.5 wins for the Chargers. But the Chargers do agree with Jeff that it is a little bit of a high number there because the under is the one that's juiced up here. You could actually get the over as high as plus 120 on BetMGM. It's plus 105, plus 110 on a bunch of other sites out there. That means that the books are only giving the Chargers about a 45.5% chance to get to that 11 wins they would need to cash the over on 10.5. The under is actually the one that is more likely to happen. Minus 125 on PointsBet is where the under is there. That's a 55% chance that it's going to go under, a little over 55.5% chance that it's going to go under. Do I love taking the under here? No, but it is probably the one that we want to that we want to look at here as well with the minus 125. So that's the main thing here with the Chargers. PointsBet minus 125 on the under. I hate to say it, but that's the way I'm looking here too. This is one of those teams that every year, even when we expect them to be great, find some way to just fall apart in the middle of the year and have one of those little runs where they lose like 4 games in a row inexplainably. And that seems to be the Chargers' MO. Now, again, different coaching staff, although it did kind of happen again last year. But, I think this is this is one of those teams that I just don't have trust in them. I love them. I like on paper, this team has so much talent. The offense is loaded. Austin Eckler, one of the best, dual threat backs in the league. 2 unbelievable wide receivers in, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Justin Herbert is the real deal at quarterback. Their defense is great. Bosa, they added Khalil Mack. They're just superstars all over this team. But again, until I see it, I just cannot trust this Chargers team here. Chargers to make the playoffs. Yes, minus 160. No. Yes, minus 160 on BetMGM. No, plus 160 on BetRivers. So theoretically, this is a rake-free market. And what I mean by a rake-free market is you can get the same amount of money. If you bet the same amount of money on what they I'm sorry, if you bet $160 at bet MGM for them to make the playoffs, if you win, you would win 100. You could bet $100 on bet Rivers, and if you win that, you would win 160. So the win on MGM would cover the loss on bet Rivers. The win on bet Rivers would cover the loss on MGM. That means it's a zero rake market. And again, I'm not saying hedge this or try to find some arbitrage situation or anything like that. But whenever you can get into a rake-free market, which is basically what this is, when you take the best price at two different books here, those are always things you want to bet into, because the rake-free market is a true coin flip, which again, you don't find too often in sports betting. A lot of times you got to pay some juice. With the way that the numbers are here, there's really no juice if you take the best number on one side and the best number on the other side for the over and the under. And again, whatever side you want, that's the side you should be on, because betting into rake-free markets is a lot better for you than betting in the markets that have big holds. So let's go on and talk about some of the chances for the Chargers to win some trophies here. AFC West number plus 250 at BetMGM is the best number for the Chargers to win the AFC West. It's plus 200 to plus 240 on all the other books that we work with. So to get this at that plus 250 number on BetMGM, I think is a really good deal. Next number that we're going to talk about here is the Chargers' chances to win the AFC. And the Chargers to win the AFC is sitting at plus 850 over on FanDuel. That's the best number we can get there. Plus 650 to plus 800 on the other book. So again, we're getting a little bit of a bump there. Plus 850 for the Chargers to win the entire AFC is the best number we can get. And FanDuel is the one that has that available. Super Bowl number for the Chargers, plus 1,500. 15 to 1 is what we're getting there. Bet Rivers and Unibet has the low price there. It's not much of a difference at the other books. It's 13 plus 1,300 to plus 1,400. So 13 to 1, 14 to 1 there. But 15 to 1, Bet Rivers and Unibet is the best number there. Personally, I think 15 to 1 is a little too low on the Chargers. If they were over 20 to 1, maybe I'd be interested. Same thing with the AFC. Give me over 10 to 1 on that. And the AFC West, man, plus 250 is a good number. I don't want to say it's not, but you can get the Kansas City Chiefs, defending champions, for plus 175. You have the Denver Broncos, who just added Russell Wilson, at plus 300. Honestly, the Chargers of those three is probably my third favorite way to play this division. I think that plus 175 on Kansas City is a juicy number, and I'd rather take the chance at plus 300 on Denver than plus 250 on the Chargers here. No knock on the Chargers. It's not that I'm saying they suck. It's just, again, this is a very competitive division. I mean, the Las Vegas Raiders, who we didn't even talk about, were second in this division last year at 10-7 and added Devontae Adams. So, I mean, any one of these teams can win. All of these teams, I think, are at least capable of beating each other on the best day. Man, that just makes it really tough to pick who you want there. So I don't really love any of those numbers for the Chargers here. Like I said, if you're going to play anything, I mean, I can't even really tell you what I would play when you're talking about the numbers for the Chargers. I think everything is a little bit too high here for me on the Chargers. So I'm going to be avoiding all of the team bets on them for 2022. So let's talk about some of the player prop bets, because those are very interesting with this Chargers team, especially with their offense and the fantasy relevance of all these guys here. So the first guy we're going to talk about, we always start with the quarterback, Justin Herbert. MVP, Justin Herbert, 10 to 1 on points bet, plus 1,000. Best price you can get there. As low as 7 to 1, 8 to 1 on most of the other sites out there. So 10 to 1. There's a little bit of value there. Now, do I think Justin Herbert is my top pick to win MVP? No, he's not the guy that I would go with. In order to win the MVP, they're going to have to win like 12, 13, 14 games for him to have a chance here. But again, if he does what he did last year, I mean, the guy threw for 5,000 yards last year, just shy of 40 touchdowns. You get the 5,000 plus yards, 40 plus touchdowns. I mean, I don't care what some of the other guys in the league do. That's going to at least put your name in the conversation there. Is it going to guarantee you a win? No, probably not, which is why even at 10 to 1, still think it's a little bit low there on Justin Herbert. Passing yards, 4,600 passing yards. The over is minus 112 on FanDuel. As a rookie, he played in 15 games, threw for 4,336. If he plays the whole season, he probably gets over that 4,600 number. Last year as a sophomore, second year in the league, threw for over 5,000 yards. So a healthy Justin Herbert, maybe a Justin Herbert that misses one game or sits out the last game if they clinch a bye or something, can get over 4,600 yards. So I do like the over there. Minus 112 on FanDuel. I'd rather play the over than the under. If you are on the under, though, 4,700 yards is the best number you can get for the under. The under is minus 110 on DraftKings at 4,700 yards. So again, you're going to play the over, 4,600 FanDuel minus 112. You want to play the under, 4,700 DraftKings minus 110. Those are the best numbers you can get on them. And my lean is to the over there. Most passing yards in the league. Again, Justin Herbert was second last year behind Tom Brady had 5,300. Justin Herbert had 5,000 yards. This is a guy that can lead the league in passing. I wish the number was a little better, but it is what it is. The best number we can get, plus 700. MGM and Caesars both have it at that plus 700 number. It's as low as plus 500. So again, plus 700 is a value compared to plus 500. Is it a number that I really want to rush out there and take? I don't know, man. Like, do you think he has more than at 7-1? We'd be looking at like a 13% chance. Do you think he has more than a 13% chance to lead the league in passing yards? I would rather take most passing yards than most passing touchdowns, but I don't know. I think I'm going to wind up avoiding this. Most passing touchdowns is plus 800 there. Again, he had 38 last year. There were a couple guys, I think, that got to 40, so he would have to step that up. I mean, again, he's got the weapons to do it. You know, they do pass a lot. So, you know, using a running back like Austin Eckler, who had like 70-something catches last year, it gives Justin Herbert more ways to get those passing touchdowns, but I don't see him leading the league here. I actually don't love the passing numbers here. His rookie year, he threw 31 touchdowns. Last year, he threw 38. The number that DraftKings is offering out there in the market is 36.5 for touchdowns there. I think it's a good number. I think that's right where it should be. I don't have a massive lean to the over or the under on this. So I'm going to be avoiding the touchdown number for Justin Herbert. Like I said, if I'm playing anything, it's the over on the passing yards. So now let's talk about that running back, Austin Eckler here. First season last year where he had over 200 carries, finished with 911 rushing yards, had another 70 catches for 647 yards. So he had 276 touches for over 1,500 yards, which is great. Is it sustainable? Yeah, probably. He's, you know, still going to be a major part of this team, both in the running and the passing game this year. So I don't want to say it's not sustainable. Austin Eckler, huge season last year, had 12 rushing touchdowns to go along with the numbers we talked about as well. A couple through the air. Guy was just an absolute beast. Anybody who played fantasy last year knows, and even people playing fantasy this year, this is a guy that's been going in like the top 10 picks of most fantasy drafts. So definitely like Austin Eckler's talent. 100-1 offensive player of the year over on FanDuel. It's as low as 50-1 on DraftKings. So obviously getting 100-1 instead of 50-1 is a much better payout there. At 50-1, it's about a 2% chance he wins the award. At 100-1, it's about a 1% chance. But again, at 100-1, I do think there's enough value there to take a little flyer on it. Now, again, not throwing a lot of money on it, but you make a $10 bet at 100-1, that pays $1,000 if Austin Eckler ends up as the offensive player of the year. If you got one of those $10 free bets from some random thing you did on whatever website there are much worse ways to put it down than Austin Eckler at 100-1 if you have a little bit of a free bet over on FanDuel. Rushing plus receiving yards for Austin Eckler, 1,400 over under minus 115 on DraftKings and BetMGM. Again, last year, 1,500 and 1,550 total rushing plus receiving yards. He played all 17 games. You're going to need Eckler to play 16 or 17 games to get over this number. So I think the number is baked into kind of perfection. If he does play all of them, I do think he goes over. But it is kind of a big ask here. So I'm staying away from the rushing plus receiving yards. The number I'd rather play, I think, is his just straight up rushing yards. 750 is the number on FanDuel. The over is minus 112. Again, he ran for 911 yards last year. So he was over this by 160, about 20% over this number. Now, again, he did have the most carries he's ever had at 200. He had only been at like 110, 105, 106 in some of those earlier seasons. But he's still running even then in 110-ish carries. He was still running for over 500 yards there. So if they're going to keep using him where he gets 200 carries, he's going over 750 yards. So I do like the over on FanDuel at minus 112 there. If you want to play an under on his yards, it's 800 on DraftKings. I just think the over is more likely than the under. Barring injury, I think he gets over the 750. So this is definitely one that I would be looking to bet here. Austin Eckler over rushing yards, minus 112 on FanDuel. 750 yards is the number. Rushing touchdowns is the one that I'm avoiding. He had an outlier year last year where he rushed for 12 touchdowns. Now, again, he had double the carries he had in any year before, but he's never had more than 3 touchdowns. So you would think doubling the carries would have put him closer to like 6 or 7. So obviously, I think that there's some regression that's going to be coming off that number of 12. 7.5 is the number that they're asking on FanDuel, and the over is minus 126 there. 8.5 to the over and the under at minus 115 on DraftKings and BetMGM. I guess I like the under the most there, minus 115 DraftKings and BetMGM. But like I said, I'm avoiding the rushing touchdown number all the way. The only number I'm playing for Austin Eckler would be over 750 rushing yards. So now let's talk about some of those pass catchers on the outside. They have two very good ones with the Chargers. Mike Williams on one side, Keenan Allen on the other side. Keenan Allen more the possession receiver, Mike Williams more the big play threat downfield. So let's start there with Mike Williams, because what I really like with Mike Williams is the Mike Williams touchdown number. So last year he had 76 catches, 1,146 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Huge numbers. He actually led the team in receiving yardage, inching out Keenan Allen by a couple yards there. Let's see. In his career, 2018, he had his second year in the league. He had 10 touchdowns. 2019, he only had 2. 2020, he had 5. 2021, he had 9. The number this year is 6.5, but it's minus 140 to the over on DraftKings and BetMGM. So I think even they think that he's due for some big scores here. FanDuel has it at minus 112 for over 7.5. I would rather play the over 7.5 at minus 112 than the over 6.5 and minus 140. Yes, it's easier to cash when you're asking for one less touchdown, but I think you're giving up a few too many basis points. I would have thought that that should be more like 135 if the other one is like minus 110, minus 115. So the fact that that's minus 140 is what's keeping me off of that over 6.5. So I'm going to go to FanDuel and play the over 7.5 at minus 112 for touchdowns for Mike Williams. That's my favorite Mike Williams prop to play there. I like his yardage number. It's like 950 as well. I don't love the catches for him because this is a guy that his targets are a little bit, a little bit deeper down the field. So they're not as high probability. So he's not going to get the 100 catches like Keenan Allen does. So I'm avoiding the catches there. And again, I like the yardage number too. But I just like the touchdown number a little bit more. And then the last guy we're going to talk about here is going to be that man, Keenan Allen. Let's see. Last year, 106 catches, 1,138 yards. In the last 5 years, he's had 1,100 yards at least in 4 of those 5 years, 1,300 yards in his best year. His worst year, he had 992 yards, but he only played 14 games that year. So if you give him the other 2 games that he should have played, he would have been over 1,100 yards in that season as well. Just a very, very consistent, absolute stud here. You talk about his catches, 102, 97, 104, 100, and then last year, 106. So this is a guy that's consistently been around or over 100 catches as well. So when you see this catch number I'm about to talk about, yes, it's high, but it's not crazy. 97.5 DraftKings, minus 115 over and under is the number of projected receptions for Keenan Allen. And like I said, in the last 5 years, he's never had under 97. So, I mean, again, I know the number seems high, but it's kind of in line with what he's done. He's been between 97 and 106 receptions each of the last 5 years. So he's been very consistent there. The number's 97.5 on DraftKings. The number is 99.5 on BetMGM. Minus 105 to the over. It's actually juiced to minus 125 for the under here. I mean, listen, this is right around the number of catches this guy's going to get. So I don't really have a lean one way or another. If I'm going to do anything, I think I'd rather play his yardage. So his yardage is 1,000.5 yards on FanDuel at minus 112 to the over and the under. Again, 1393, 1196, 1199, 992 in only 14 games, and 1,138 last year. If he plays 15 or 16 games, this guy is very likely to get over 1,000 yards again. And I like that about Keenan Allen, that he's very consistent with that there. So a healthy Keenan Allen, I think, does get over 1,000 yards, minus 112 on FanDuel. I think that's worth a bet. If you want to play the under on his yardage, 1,050 is the top number there to play under. And DraftKings has that available for minus 115. So there you go. That wraps it up for the player prop bets and the player prop picks here for the Los Angeles Chargers. And that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the FTN Bets Cast, sponsored by our friends over at Sleeper. Good luck today, everybody.
Live from the new sports betting capital of the world.
You might be from Texas, but I'm from New Jersey.